Yeah, there we go. All right. We're back, and I think we're gonna see some of Shardy out and about in the world rather than in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Oot in a boot.
I think Shoddy has a lot of regular appointments that she needs to make in order to work towards her citizenship or her subjectship, I guess it is. She can't be a citizen, but I think it's daily, honestly. And they're kind of, I envision them as almost like parole officer check-ins, even though she hasn't committed a particular crime. They're like reports on what you've done, how you've benefited the community, like, and also like
an
drilling.
I don't think it's even informal. I think they like literally have a couple of check boxes for your appearance, right? Like they literally are like, is she dressed properly? Does
she look like assimilated enough?
Yeah, right.
Fashion?
Like,
right.
Yeah. Like it's not even that, like, because like we tend to make those things. Those things tend to be like subtle in our society.
Right. They're microaggressions, and in this case, they're macroaggressions.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And so yeah, what's the thing that you've not got perfect about your like presentation today?
Well, her hair is perfect, and the thing that's noticeable is her hair is very different from the way she has it down when she was serving. Well, I guess it wouldn't be down, but it was at least it was down but pushed back, and now it's like very much like in a bun, and it's very like tight, and she obviously spent a lot of time getting it just right. But her chitin is that of a man. It's just the. She doesn't have her own. Like, this is a chitin that it's clearly ill-fitting. Maybe it's her husband's, right? Like, it's nice, but it doesn't fit right. And
yeah,
and
it's almost it, and it like it's not appropriate wear. Like, if it's like her husband's, it wouldn't have been appropriate wear for the street anyway.
Right, and it's dirty. She definitely takes painstaking efforts to keep it as clean as she can, but like, working in a soup kitchen is hard to keep clothes. Actually, that's not true. She would have a different set of clothes for this. Mm-hmm. So this isn't seen in the previous scene. This was so it's not dirty because she doesn't wear this in the soup kitchen because she has to like have her like, this is like her formal attire.
Yeah.
But it is not befitting of a lady. It is not, and it's not cut right, and it doesn't have the right colors. It doesn't have the current Republic's colors.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's the dead giveaway. Yeah. Forget all the rest of the details; those don't matter. It is a dress. It's not her husband's attire. I'm retconning all that nonsense. It's a dress. It's just the colors are. Let's see. Have we established any colors for the current Republic? No. Anything to identify with? I think the colors are blue and gold, and that is not.
Oh, that's yeah. I like it. I like the idea of like the blue being like representative of like the ocean and like the dominance over the ocean that the previous empire had. Like,
nice. And so her attire is red and black, and that is just not in vogue at all. It used to be. It's not anymore.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah. I think you meet up with. I need a name. No, my brain is just giving me names from Les Mis.
Yes. Love it. Amazing.
You meet up with Victor, who is we
can't have a name from Les Mis. Let's name it after the author.
No, it's Victor as in winner. His name is Winner. It's literally just Winner.
Let's make it
just
Victor,
wins a lot.
Just to like but yeah, Victus is I think he's like the equivalent of like a JP, of like a Justice of the Peace.
Okay, got it.
I was like, isn't he JP?
No. Yeah, I'll just call him a justice.
Right.
So he's a justice, and yeah, I feel like if you go like, I feel like you're gonna have to end up like right down in the citizens, like the area Luke has labeled as the Citizens' Triumph.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's like a market here, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's in the like form.
There's a street for that, Ash. There's a street for the market too.
Is there? Oh my
I'm very organized.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So, but the thing is that as you get to like the end of the market in the Citizens' Triumph, it becomes more and more performative, right? Like no one's selling fish there except for
Right.
or anything that smells bad.
It sounds like it would be all like perhaps trinkets and fine wares that are like way too expensive for anybody to afford. Like Shadi walks by and like sees for instance perhaps a tailor or somebody who's like selling garments that like there's no way she can afford any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's not right. Like she knows that she should be wearing that style of dress, but
And I think the
It's
thing is
not
that
gonna
like it is that I think a tailor or a jeweler like calls out to you and like is like Miss, I have the finest and the latest fashions. These silks have been imported from some of the furthest reaches of our great nation, where they are woven by barbarians. I mean, by newest members of our wonderful republic. And like
Right.
it's this. I think it's this like deep cerulean dress with quite dark bronze like trimmings. It's not it's not what like everyone else is wearing, but he's assuring you that it's what's coming in.
it's the next new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ashadi, despite herself, like there's a part of her that wants to just say smile and walk on, but there's a part of her that remembers having nice things, and having nice things was conjoined with essentially servitude, like not being in a relationship of her choice and not living in a place of her choice, but nevertheless she's drawn towards these things that she has all these bad feelings around. So she reaches out and
Come, it matches your eyes. Surely you must try it on.
and I think she touches the fabric. He's being so like congenial that she doesn't think about like hopefully she won't get in trouble just for touching it. And she like holds it for a second and closes her eyes and just kind of like rubs it against the palm of her hand, and then kind of remembers what she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, and like gently like tries to wave out the crease.
An element I would like to add.
Yeah, do it.
To make this darker and sad.
Yeah, please. Right now it's just nostalgia.
Yeah, he says, "You simply must buy this for your masters." Like he flips it to being that like
That's
this
even
is what
rougher
they will
than
guard their
I was going to throw
slaves
something in, but that's even rougher. Wow.
And it's not even he's not even showing you the nicest stuff. This is
Right.
this is what you would put on your servants. And so
Right.
he's like, oh, you'll look great in this uniform for servant.
Right. You must
he's
be a
like-
body servant. You must be a body servant, right?
And
Yeah.
and when your master comes around, we'll show him these, and he points to the like even nicer like embroidered silks and stuff that
Right.
are somewhere else. Yeah, there's like a whole flipping of this where you're like, the nice thing I get to, but no,
Yeah.
No,
the other thing.
you don't even get the nice thing. That's brilliant, and I think that's what kind of snaps her out of it. And Shadi's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I have an appointment I have to make." And I think it's totally obvious that like if you have an appointment you have to make here, what she's got to do, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're in this particular district at this particular time, that means she's not even a subject.
Yeah,
So
it's-
he would have license to scream obscenities at me, hit me with a cudgel, do whatever he wants, because I've just sort of outed myself
Yeah.
as like,
And I think
I'm not a person in your
and
mind.
he just his face sours, and like I think his hands glance, his eyes glance to your hands, and he immediately goes to the and like I think he's like, well, then you'd best get to it. And like I think he almost hisses at you slightly with like a tss, tss, tss.
Right, like scurry, like a noise you'd make in an animal, like
yeah, exactly. And I think I think
get out of here,
like,
possum.
Grabs a hold of the dress where you had touched it, and starts inspecting it for like oils or stains.
Right. Like I must
Tiny
have
little-
soiled it some way.
Yeah.
Tiny tears from the calluses on your fingers.
Yeah.
I scurry away.
Head towards the grand like ionic pillars of wherever it is you've got to go, and like there's got to be like you've got to like pass between these statues of great senators and philosophers and warriors and things that are they're all just statues of white dudes, like
I want to say that they're marble, so it's like patently obvious because the stone itself is white, like not just like it's real.
Unlike most of the other sculpture in the city, they haven't been painted. It's like the natural whiteness of the stone is just given as a metaphor for their skin. I think they're like two deified heroes of the revolution, and they've become like truth and justice.
Yeah.
And so like one of them was like the Karl Marx of the Republic's revolution, who like fomented like the intellectual like framework on which the revolution functioned.
Right.
And the other was like the kind of Robespierre who led the public execution process in the immediate aftermath.
Yeah. As just a really small touch, there's like these little spots in the stone behind them where the stone is slightly lighter than it is in other places, where clearly like there used to be old placards for something else and they've all been pried off, and they've tried to do everything they can to wash them away, but there's just these like few hints. And when Shadi walks by one of them, she just kind of brushes her hand against like one of those spaces, those empty negative spaces of like remembering, again, not like the best time for her, but a better time. Of like the previous era. She also makes a big point of like keeping her, like staying out of mud and like avoiding anything that would soil herself. But I think even so, when she gets on these steps, she like tries to clean off the hem of her dress,
like especially because you've got to cross the whole city. That sounds like avoiding.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm only going to require one success for it.
Okay, cool. Because she knows that she's going to be judged on her appearance, and so she doesn't want to have any. As she wants as few visible flaws as possible. Cool. I will totally roll avoid. Let's see if I can do it. How much air do I have left? I have lost half my air. What else is good at avoid?
I'm trying to remember. Earth is not terrible at it.
Earth dice are 50-50.
Earth dice are 50-50 for a lot of things. Earth dice are the most like, because it's Earth, it's the most like even.
Yep. Okay. I don't think I'm gonna bend here. Actually, I will. I will bend. I'm gonna use air and bend Earth, and the way I'm gonna bend Earth into it is in a way that's not. Since we've already seen some of Pyros doing this, like it's gonna like create some of more like the continuity of the way like dust particles and whatnot. Like when she sees like the dirt, the mud that's sort of smudged on her dress, she does that same sort of hand motion she did to like waft up the air, but then we see like this swirl of air that like dries out the mud, and then hopefully it crumbles away. We'll see.
Let's see how that goes.
See if the dice actually agree with me in this. So. What's that?
Chat seems to be oh no, Andrew's fucked it up for you. That's good job.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. All right, and we'll do, I guess I'll just roll one air die and just see how this goes. And I'm doing avoid. Okay. Because I'm only trying to get one success. Sure, I can. Cool.
Yep, so you lose.
I got one success and I lost one earth.
Yep.
Oh,
so yeah, the earthbending, I think you start to do it and then you realize like, oh wait, no, it's like someone walks past and you have to stop.
Oh, Oh yeah. Oh, perfect.
Because you don't want to be seen, but like because your air is what saves you, is your quickness, it's your alertness, it's your all those sorts of things. You don't get spotted bending earth, and you do manage to like avoid getting you manage to just get enough of the dirt off that it won't be visible.
Perfect. I shake it off, and I think I like adjust. So instead of it being perfect, it's that there's a little bit on it, and I like adjust so it hides it, so that it's like it's not as visible.
Yeah.
The things we roll in this game, roll to get dirt off of your dress, but I mean, it's so perfect.
That's the thing we were talking about, right? Like that's what this game is about.
Yeah. No, the stakes for Shadi are very well. Yeah. In her mind, the stakes are high, but the actual actions are very mean.
So you have your like perfect appearance as an armament. For the moment, so that's cool. Inside you hear the sound of like the wooden hammer against the like great brass. I don't think it's a bell, but it's probably like a great big bit of brass that's just like bashed like a gong,
like a brass plate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
hit like a gong, but a primitive one. It's very square.
Yeah, so you hear this like dung dung dung, and then someone's like, and you hear the voice of Victus just being like, "This is unacceptable. Out with you, and don't bother me again." And like this young man with like, I think like. Yeah, this young man like is half thrown out by like he's kind of just shoved by these guards, and like he like stumbles out, and you can see he's like trying his best like to hold back tears. It's so easy for these guards to throw him because he's so like he's kind of withered. Or like he
emaciated.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't look like hunger though. It looks like there's something like probably eating at him.
Disease in some. And
that's the
sickly.
Thing. Yes, sickly in some way, and he's otherwise like citizen passing. But like because he's wearing a chiton instead of like a big formal thing, and he doesn't have an armoring, you can see his limbs are all, and like his neck is skin stretched over muscle and bone. And he stumbles out, and like I think he nearly runs into you because you're like sitting down for a moment to like clean yourself.
Yeah, my goodness, this is like for Shadi, this is a split-second decision of because I don't think she has a lot of time to do it, but it's this decision of like, do I want to get involved or just go about just keep my head down and go about my business?
I mean, if you get involved, these guards will see.
What's that?
If you interact with him, like the guards are still watching.
And so the whole time they're arguing, while they're just like shouting at him, she's like, I'm looking away, I'm not paying any attention, I'm not involved. And then I think when like they push him out and he's stumbling towards her, she finally decides like, she kind of shakes her head like knowing this is a bad idea and tries to catch him a little bit. And like she's gonna try, because this is Shadi's way to make it look like she stands up like, oh, I'm so surprised, and tries to help him catch himself, so it looks as though he's like stabilized himself and that she's not like here to let me, she's trying to make him look better in that like he stabilizes himself. It may not be a huge deal in the eyes of the guards, but she doesn't want him to feel further emasculated by a woman helping him from falling down, right? Like that's the if I do that, then he might get mad at me and hit me if I emasculate him. That's the kind of fear. That's the fear response she has. What's that?
Does that feel like tending to you?
Yeah, I think tending is right.
Yeah.
Tending to that fragile masculinity.
Tending, thank you. That's exactly it. Tending to...
Also, everyone, I would like to announce I finished color coding the city. You're all welcome.
Thank you. Nice.
Meticulously and by hand, I have color coded.
How is self at tending?
It's not bad.
Okay. Because I'm depleted on water, so I want some dice. What is the What is the all right, tending. Oh yeah, tending is self is D20, right?
Yep. Oh no, self is D12.
Self is D12. Water is D20.
Yeah.
So what? That makes sense. Okay, yeah. Self is good though. They're both pretty good. What is the obstacle here? And there's an assumed implication that no matter what, the guards are going to see this, right? Like, there's not any way to.
I think the thing here is that there is an ob of 2 in that you want to make sure he doesn't dash his head on the rocks, and you also want to make sure that it doesn't look like you're helping him.
Yes, perfect. That's what I want. Okay. And take those out. Okay, water is 1. Oops, I did this wrong, but it's okay. I haven't rolled it yet. Okay. And ob 2. Oh, I'm gonna re-roll that because I accidentally did a void.
Oh, yep, re-roll it then.
So that should be 10. Because yeah, I don't think there's any way to. Cool. I did it, sort of.
2 successes. Yep. You lose some dice from it, but that's.
Yep.
Cool.
1 self loss, 1 more loss. Man, I am. And what? How do we spend these? How do we do recoveries?
Yeah. So if you want, let's talk about that because it's important. When you rest in safety and enjoy human contact, conversation, and friendship, then you may discard you can discard light tokens to get dice back.
Cool.
So can I frame a flashback since this is a Blades game?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So like flashback to this morning before you left. Because they, Sean, remind me. We had established that you were still staying at the the
she
soup
definitely
kitchen.
she definitely stays in the soup kitchen, and she is Shadi, while kind, is distant. Like there's a part of Shadi that still hasn't accepted this is her life. So I think she's tried to like sequester a little space, and
totally.
But
and I think
it's meager. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it's a case of like the soup kitchen only does dinner, right? Like during the day, I use it as a cover for my secret school where I teach people how to heal, even though it's illegal.
Cool.
But so like the morning is normally a very quiet time, and I think Carrick's normally like sleeps in. But I think you wake up at whatever stupidly early time you have to get up to get dressed to.
It's really dumb early because the appointment is early in the morning, and she has to be up way before then.
And like there is the smell of food, and like Carrick's is awake before you, and like Shadi comes out into the like middle of the space, and Carrick's has like prepared her like breakfast.
Aww.
Because like she's about to go and have to do like a really shitty thing, and he's like, and they're like, look, like I'm with you, right? Like I'm on your side.
Is this a ritual thing that Carrick's normally does before Shadi has to make these appointments, or is this the first time that Carrick's has done this?
I think it might be. I don't know. Which is more interesting to you, right? Like I think there's both of them have potential.
I think.
Is this a milestone in the like?
I think it bespeaks...
in the like intimacy of their relationship, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it bespeaks... as stealing from a clever game designer that I know of, it's cool to frame this as season 2. And we can flash back to things that happened in like season 1 where like they met, because clearly Shadi's been living here for a while.
God, I feel really clever.
Yeah, that's super clever. Andrew Gillis was the GM and game designer that has this idea. I don't know if anybody has heard of them, but they're very cool.
They're very clever.
They're very
like a real stuck-up pompous,
very attractive
ivory tower designer to me.
But this whole idea of season 2 sort of obviates the need for like, well, of course they had to have these introductory scenes, and of course we had to have these awkwardnesses in the beginning, because that's what every TV show always does. But we're like, yeah, but we've moved on past that.
We did that. We've all that content's out of the way. Yeah, so no, I think this is the first time. I think.
Okay, cool.
This is like a step in their relationship, right?
Awesome.
This is like a shift.
Awesome. So yeah, so she's really surprised, and she like has like this really like cold hard tack that she was gonna eat. That like it was like stuff out of the out of the preserves of the pantry, because that's she needed to eat. So she was planning on just eating this like gross whatever preserved food. And then when she smells it, she's just like what is that?
I think it's probably like.
Can I interject for a sec? I just want to provide a mechanical a mechanical note. The more people in this scene there are, the more mechanically advantageous, because the number of people in this, because spending one momentum for each momentum spent in one of these scenes, everyone in the scene gets a dice.
Yes.
Cool.
I think it's hard to find a way to work Pyros in. Risa, would you like to be here also?
Yeah, that was the suggestion.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, so I think like there are like some spiced like sweet buns that are like Carrick's best approximation, having never been there, at the cuisine of Shadi's homeland.
Mm-hmm.
Like the spices are definitely the correct spices, though. Like the technical.
Right.
Like,
I think they're the turmeric and like the cardamom and the turmeric that like are from.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like that's the space,
because it's important, right? Like that's legit. The rest is approximation.
Yeah, and then there's like porridge with like honey and berries. That is like from Carrick's own like background, right? Because like the Carrick's whichever parents like people are like our fantasy analog like Gaul.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like a lot of oats and that kind of stuff.
You're making me hungry, Luke.
I do this.
Like me resentful that I'm not in the scene. Like people are eating food.
This is why you should never let me do scenes with food, because I just go there.
Let's halt for a second and think about this, because I do want to see Pyros connected into the larger space, and I don't feel like we're gonna end up at Pyros's apartment, all four of us.
Well, so actually, yeah, Andrew, is this like later today? We have like a PT session.
Yeah, maybe this is in advance of us doing whatever healing stuff you're doing with me.
Eat a wholesome breakfast first.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone's here. This is a nice group scene.
Right.
Yeah, and there's like a tea, like a soothing medicinal tea that has all kinds of health benefits, and like probably some of whatever Rice's favorite food is, because Risa does not like have an ethnic heritage to which Carrick's can like call back and evoke nostalgia that way. So instead it's just like whatever your favorite food is of a breakfast nature.
Cake.
Please tell me it's mushrooms, and I'll describe some great mushrooms.
I think you need to stop, otherwise we're gonna have to take a break. And
there's the cute little like bun things with the spicy, and then there's the sweet thing. You're done. That's breakfast.
Yeah,
it's not a fucking 4-course meal. We're not eating at the.
It's great.
It's not l'orange or something.
I mean, but it is a bit of a special thing, right? Like it is this little community coming together in support of Shadi.
This already sounds
having to do the shitty thing. Yeah,
but I just want to really.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Shadi's follows her nose and comes out into the common room and sees this, and like immediately, like she doesn't even talk to Carrick's at first. Like she just runs over and like puts her hand on one of the warm buns and like closes her eyes and smells in, and she's like, and then she looks at Carrick. She's like, you shouldn't have done this. These spices are too expensive. And she can tell that there's like she could smell the turmeric in it. Like she knows, like whether it tastes like her homeland, she knows that she recognizes the spices and knows that it's expensive and hard to get. And so she like demurs, like, you shouldn't have done this. This is too much.
And I think we hear like the knock on the door of like either Risa or like or Pyros like arriving, and Carrick's like goes to
it's Pyros, yeah.
It's Pyros. Carrick's goes to answer it, right? Like not letting you do it, even though that would probably be your instinct.
Sure.
Just like on the way, like rests her hand on your shoulder and is like, there's a word. Like, I think there is a foreign word that Carix uses that none of you have an exact translation for yet, because they haven't told you, because they don't want to admit the depth of feeling yet. But it's the word for like chosen kin or something of that sort. And it's like, for insert foreign word here, like nothing is too much. We're community, right? Like
the subtitle is like unknown word, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like right at the bottom.
We don't know what it means, but they're just like for you, like nothing is too much.
I don't know
if your shoulder.
If anyone's like loves when it's cold out and you have like coffee or hot chocolate or something like that, and you just like hold the cup for a while, but that's totally what Shadi's doing right now. She's holding the bun and she's just like letting she's not even eating it yet. She's just like enjoying the smell. She doesn't know how it's going to taste, but like she just really likes the comfort and the warmth of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, how does Pyros enter?
Well, her reverie is cut by Pyros's like gruff voice, and he also names the spices and is excited, but starts muttering about like, oh, I haven't had those since I was on campaign, and like hobbles over excitedly to like eat this food, which he does genuinely love, but he knows it through this horrible colonial
lens
as the food of the conquered. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which like he was over there for a long time, and in that way that soldiers on campaign in a place end up in this weird like liminal cultural space.
Right.
He's like familiar with the culture and probably engaged a lot with people there, both murdering them and then in other capacities.
Sure.
That whole thing.
Yeah. And I'm picturing that probably like Risa is also outside, because they would have like helped you like hobble over, at least to whatever extent you would like allow that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You probably like ordered me over to help, and then I was just like shoot off.
Yeah, you go to Pyros's house, and he's already like out in the street, like making his way on his own, very stubbornly. And you're just like, I'm here to help you, and he's like, don't need help.
What a jackass.
Nice. So yeah, Risa like looks up from her reverie and sees Pyros as he's walked over, as he's like hobbled over, and she kind of freezes for a moment, and like you can see her fingernails dig into the soft bun as she sees him, and it kind of looks like she's about to tear it to pieces, but she doesn't, and she steps back and she unfolds them, and you can see like the dig marks, the dig marks in the bun that stay as she relaxes it. And what do you think, Andrew? Where do you think Pyros and Shadi have left off? Like, do they know each other? Have they connected since years ago, or is this the first time they've seen each other in that time? I feel like they've connected at least once.
Yeah, we
twice.
know that each other are kind of in the neighborhood, because it's not such a big place. So yeah, Pyros does the thing where he wants to be able to smile at you, but ends up like looking down and like in some mix of like shame and sadness and resignation, and like takes one of the buns and just like talks about how much he likes the spices to cover up how like sad and fucked up he feels about this whole thing, and like puts it down and goes and like sits and just like eats it slowly.
I'd like just to make this even that much more sad and comforting at the same time, that these really are strong spices. So if you don't have a palate that's familiar with them, they tend to make you water, right? Like that they're it legitimately is spicy enough that you it's not comfortable for everybody. Pyros has been in my lands long enough that
he's got a bit of it. Yeah.
Right. So he's got a taste for it, but like
he doesn't water in the eyes, but he does sweat when he eats it.
Nice.
He's one of those. He gets like a little bit red and like puffy as he's eating it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Shadi's going to say something bitter. Like there's sort of a bitter sentiment of like, make sure you're up for it.
Yeah, like don't choke on it.
Don't choke on it. Yeah. Oh, that's it. At some point, she sees you do this, and like as her attempt at making a peaceful overture, when you're turning red, she pours you a glass of water. Like when you're sweating.
Yeah, and like kind of embarrassedly like through the food, and he's all flushed from like sweating, but also maybe embarrassment. He's just like, thanks, and like takes the thing and drinks some water from it and puts it down and does the like lean back, like loosen your waistband kind of thing of just like satisfaction, just like, oh, like he's really into the food and likes being here. Yeah, he takes up more space than he should in that way as well. Like everything's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and Carrick's like, squeezes like Rice's shoulder and like ushers them in and then like closes the door and then like goes over and gets like tea from like the middle like kitchen bit and like pours everyone tea, and we all have a nice breakfast together.
Sounds delightful.
And we can spend some momentum. Though ironically, I have yet to exhaust a single die, so I am fine.
Yeah,
your character is just effortlessly breezing through this horrible place.
So you have 6 momentum that you can spend if you want. 6 light tokens you can spend if you want. Each light momentum you discard allows each player to restore 1 dead dice to life from amongst their own, their companions, or an armament. So yours should be like well set because you're all very good at like making things bad.
Yeah, I'm currently down 6 dice, so I could spend all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it's communal, but like I don't need.
I'm down 4.
And so sorry, do I follow correctly that if we spend 4, everyone recovers 4?
Mm-hmm. Yep, everyone recovers up to 4. Yeah.
Up to 4. Okay.
Yeah, I think 4 is probably the right number then.
I mean, if it's 4, then Luke can actually use some of those to heal yours as well.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like a fountain.
I see. So it's like 4 per person, but if you don't use them, you can give them to someone else.
Yeah, or you can, or if you've got an armament that is broken, you can mend it.
So if
3 is actually the correct number because that leaves you with 3 left over, Luke, which 1 can go to Risa. 2 can go to Shoddy, which gets her 5 out of 6, which is pretty good, and we're not wasting any at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maths and efficiency.
But even if we did 4 now, it wouldn't be wasted because I would still be getting it. Like it works out the same. If we do 4 now, then you fill up 3, I fill up 4. It's the same as if we did 3 now and I got 1 again later.
But because Luke's spill over, you can still get 4, and Shoddy can get 5. Because there are 3 extra.
Luke doesn't need any.
So there's like
I'm full, so I can take my 3 and to like pay it forward.
Which makes sense in this scene because you're the one doing the like.
Because I'm the hub of this scene.
Yeah, okay, I didn't understand that rule.
Yeah. So this way.
Yeah, and that way we save as many precious momentum as possible.
Honestly, it feels like something we want to strategically conserve.
Yeah.
There's a reason I give you a lot at the start of the game is because people often are like, because people have to learn, people
how to make things fucked up to get more.
Yeah, but also people take time to learn how to make efficient use of their dice.
Absolutely, yeah. No, the downside of playing on Roll20 is that by doing all the automation, we actually, I think, learn the dice less well.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you were actually physically rolling dice, you get much better, much faster at knowing oh, this is what's good for this.
And and you also have these 2 piles that are much more visceral experience as well.
Yeah.
Though having enough dice for everyone in lead space
that's
is
the problem.
Awkward.
Yeah. Running this game at cons, I had to just go and like buy $50 worth of dice.
Yeah, I remember we play tested, like Ash bought like a massive jar full of dice over to the friend whose place I was staying at's house, and then we proceeded to raid that friend's stash of like an equally large jar as well.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Thanks. So if I can roll that back into the current scene, because that was a flashback.
Yeah, totally. Exactly.
This one.
Yeah, exactly.
He smell the man when I catch him, because I succeeded, as kind of a conversation breaker or as like a way to make it maybe not so awkward for him. He smells that turmeric smell off of Shoddy. She's still I think she has one of the buns that she's like carried in a little basket as like her afternoon snack. It's like her lunch snack or something like that. Like she took one of them, so it's still like there's a little smell of it, and it's gonna like be noticeable to his nose because it's a very foreign smell, right? Whether that disposes him positively or negatively, I don't know, but I think it's at least enough to recapture that flashback back into the scene.
Yeah. So I think
cool.
Yeah, like
I'd like a momentum. I'm gonna make it sad.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sadden it up.
I'm gonna make it sad. I think it disposes him like negatively towards you, because I think before Ash, the impression I'm getting, and just to like check in, is that this guy like has developed a debilitating medical condition that has disqualified him from citizenship. Beforehand, when he was still a citizen as a like young man, I think he had an illicit affair with a denizen who was one of like your like Shadi's, the same ethnic like and cultural group as Shadi.
Sure.
And like it was like as positive as such a relationship could be, given that like toxic power dynamic. And like he was young, like he, this was like a teenage love affair, and he like hadn't really learned all the shittiness and internalized it all yet. And then his father found out, and the whole thing ended in tragedy. And so it's like a really bad memory of like loss and humiliation and regret and like guilt for him. And he's got a lot of toxic feelings tangled up, and like that smell just like takes him right back to that emotional moment.
I love it.
Is that sound?
Yeah,
smells are one of the best sensory, the best sense at
memory triggers.
At being a memory trigger, yeah.
So yeah, he totally does. It like the same look washes over his face as the like the dress merchant, and it's just that like that like turn of like oh god. And yeah, he pushes you away, and like you can see him like trying his best to hold his he's like, he's holding his superiority as much as he can. And then I think what we hear then is like the banging of the gavel on the big brass plate, and then someone calls out, "Dominus? Is Shadi Dominus here? She better not be late again." And I think that's where we can...
No. I'm here. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to speak out of turn.
Yeah, cool. And yeah, as you like duck inside, I think we'll go to break for last time and come back in a minute.
Sounds good.
All right. Back soon.